before we start our board meeting, we get another hand for all our clients. The first group was just advanced getting 6th grade LIS, and then the rest was solo performances directed under Mr. Tag. We all did a great job. I'm just going to get some of our stuff.
Absolutely. Take your time, Mr. Coach.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our students who performed.
Thank you, performers.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Lawrence Township Public School Board meeting. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. As required under law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided via email and/or fax to the Times, the Lawrence Ledger, the Public Library, and has been filed with the municipal clerk. This notice was provided prior to the 48 hours required by the Open Public Meeting Act. The board reserves the right to limit the public discussion of personnel, items, and other matters as defined in the law. Have the flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First, we'll have our student representative reports. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Sabine. I'm a junior. This week started sign-ups for Class Royale, which is being hosted by Project Graduation. The event is a powder puff-like tournament where the girls play flag football and the boys cheer. All 4 grades will be participating, and the event will be held April 25th. Our annual St. Baldrick's campaign just wrapped up last weekend. Both Mr. O'Connor and Dr. Adams shaved their head, along with many others, in support of this worthwhile cause. LTPS continues to raise money and awareness for cancer research.
Hi, my name is Hope Lestitian. I'm a junior. I will be talking about NJGPA testing, AP testing, and science testing. Juniors just finished their NJGPA graduation requirement testing last week. AP testing is coming up in May, so please have your high school child start studying soon. Also coming up in May is junior testing for science.
Hi, I'm Veronica Edwards, and I'm a senior. Last Friday, March 14th, the International Lions Club had a Holy Festival, which it's also the Festival of Colors. The bright colors represent joy, love, and happiness, and the festival is celebrated to overcome evil. The club is also having an upcoming cultural fest in June, so we are all preparing to perform.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm a senior. Spring sports are in full swing. It's been a little over a week since spring sports have started, and a bunch of teams have already started scrimmaging. Girls lacrosse won yesterday, girls softball won today, baseball won yesterday, and then boys lacrosse has a scrimmage tomorrow, and then track and field has been practicing, so yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, I'm Josh Kriegel. I'm a junior. The spring musical Hello Dolly just wrapped up, and it was a great success, and tickets were even sold out on Saturday. The senior production, Diary of Anne Frank, is currently having auditions and will take place later in the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much Student representatives, feel free to stay or leave. Thank you for all the great updates on our sports teams. Next, we have recognition and acknowledgement. We have Bonnie Giglio from the Executive Director of the Lawrence Township Education Fund coming up to give us some spring updates.
Hello, good evening. I apologize in advance. I'm the only one here, so you have to hear me say all of them this time. But I am Bonnie Giglio, the Executive Director of the Lawrence Township Education Foundation. We just wrapped up our spring grant cycle, and we were able to fund 22 grants for a total of $23,608 this year. So I'm going to go through all the grants that we funded. So we had one multiple school grant, and it was, a lot of the teachers are here, so if I say your name, we'll stand up and clap for you. Tell It Like It Is, K-STEAM Story Retelling Kits for all elementary schools for $1,890. That was awarded to Kim O'Boyle, Maureen Hayes, Terry Krisak, Joe Fredericks, Lonnie Chasser, and Amy Reef. Sorry, I knew that. This grant will provide developmentally appropriate manipulatives for kindergarten students in all 4 elementary schools to use in literacy and STEAM activities. Each kit contains materials to support students' comprehensive skills and retelling a classic folktale, along with tools to allow students to engage in problem solving and engineering tasks. I don't know. Okay. There was one other grant out of Ben Franklin, and that was the Playful Pathways 2 for $658. That was awarded to Kim O'Boyle, Terry Krisak, Joe Fredericks, and Lonnie Chasser. This grant will provide math stacker blocks for kindergarten students at Ben Franklin in order to think mathematically while building and manipulating. All right, we had 2 grants out of Lawrence Elementary School. We had the bucket drumming assembly for $985 granted to Jennifer Zatoni. This grant will fund the bucket drumming assembly, which will provide a fun and educational program for all students at LES. And then Hallways of Wisdom was $700 for Jeff Berry, Ashley Tagan, and Kristen Burke. This grant will provide additional examples of uniquely worded and school pride educational signage in our hallways, and do so specifically for the pre-K population, which has grown from 2 classes to 6 classes, in order to help our youngest learners notice, read, and develop important early learning skills in some of the most formative years. This is a similar grant request placed last year, but this one has more of a focus on the growing pre-K population. Okay. Lawrence Intermediate School had the most grants, as they usually do. The first grant we have is flexible seating for $500. That was awarded to Mary Buck and Jessica Allenbach, and I know that they're here, so you can stand. Did I say it right? This grant will provide upright, flexible seating on the carpet for 4th graders in Allenbach's classroom at LIS in order to enhance student engagement, collaboration, and comfort during learning activities. The next grant is Cooking Around the World for $1,000 to Orit Goldstein, and she is here. This grant will provide access to kitchen tools and appliances, teach life skills to 4th to 6th grade students in the speech and language program at LIS, and encourage cultural diversity through creating recipes from different cultures. It will aim to teach varied speech and language skills, creatively teaching sequencing, vocabulary, following directions, social skills, and problem-solving skills. The next grant is Vertical Classroom for $700. That's to Katie Coaches and Courtney Hozchek. They are both here. This grant will provide vertical learning space for multiple grades and classrooms at LIS by providing reusable vertical whiteboards that stick to the walls and surfaces. These whiteboards will expand student work surfaces and increase student interaction while working, and also provide more effective teacher observation and make student thinking visible in the form of a gallery presentation. The next grant, oh, it's an exciting one, Weekly Hoot for $2,729 was awarded to Andrew Sensei and Sharon Rello, and I know Andrew is here. This grant will provide televised morning announcements for the entire school at LAS, bringing back the program that ended during COVID. Students will participate in creating, producing, and broadcasting the weekly morning announcements. The next grant is one we always love, which is one that was directed and started by students. And this was an anthology book for $1,000 awarded to Mr. Gershner and his students, Julia, Malinowski, sorry, January White, Vivian, how do I not know how to say that one?
Caparata.
Thank you. And Miza Khan. And I know some of the students are here. This grant is student-led. It was written by LAS 6th grade students, Julia, January, Vivian, and Miza. The anthology book will be a collaboration of student stories from students from grades 4 to 6. It will be a series of unique essays, stories, and art. The goal of this book is to bring together students' talents and the community. It will encourage literature by showing different ways to tell a story. The next grant is Wellness Day for $600 to Sarah Yaskowitz and Tori Hart. This grant will provide access to wellness activities for students in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade at LAS in order to promote healthy habits during the Wellness Day program. Our next grant is the Great Debate at LAS, $1,287 to Gabrielle Casseri. I know she is here. This grant will provide access to developmentally appropriate books with varying points of view on topics of interest to students in 4th and 5th grade. Yeah. And I think it's our last grant out of LIS, Mapping Our World for $962 to Kristen Potter, Karen Formicino, and Kimberly Finocchio. I know that Kristen's here. I wasn't supposed to read all the names. This grant will fund the purchase and installation of large, high-quality world and country maps in the hallways of Lawrence Intermediate School. This project aims to strengthen students' map skills, geography knowledge, and overall geoliteracy by creating an accessible and engaging learning environment beyond the classroom. Okay, I know you guys, I'm sorry. It's still me. Lawrence Middle School. The first grant is Enhancing Engagement Through Video Tech for $450 to John Eric Stamatelos. This grant will provide new cameras for all middle school students at LMS in order to engage students with video production, learning both technical skills and fostering teamwork, creativity, and communication. The next grant is a student-led grant called Banner Up for $304 for Oliver Valentino. This grant will provide banners for the Lawrence Middle School music programs in order to promote our school and give our music ensembles a more professional look. The next grant is Printing Design for All for $3,275 for John Eric Stamatelos. He was busy this cycle, and this grant will allow LMS to purchase a sublimation printing system in order to provide valuable hands-on experience in printing, design, and production creation, fostering essential skills for career and college readiness. And the last grant out of second to last, is a camera for student council for $521 for Jillian Testa. I didn't see her, did I? I did, oh, yay! This grant will enhance the middle school's ability to capture and share events, improve security by keeping students' photos off of their personal devices, and strengthening community engagement through better social media content. And the last grant out of LMS is Cardinal Quest for $405 to Douglas Lenhart and Jeff Body. And this grant will help establish Cardinal Quest, which is a tabletop role-playing game club for students at LMS. The club will begin its focus with an easily approachable board game gaming system, HeroQuest, which students can learn and then use as a basis for creating their own gaming experiences during face-to-face club sessions with peers. Okay, now we can clap. Oh, sorry, I didn't know your hand. Stand up, come on. Okay. All right. And Our last school is the Lawrence High School, and we have a few grants out of there. The first one is improving TV studio for $443 to Timothy Williams. This grant will provide equipment for 9th to 12th grade students at Lawrence High School in order to enhance the TV studio production class and provide a higher quality show for the school and surrounding community. Ceiling and Success, $2,250 is to Alexis Egger and John Tees. This grant will provide a laminator for all business and DECA students at the high school in order to ensure success inside and outside of the classroom. Students will be able to bring their research to life through creative professional presentations. The next one is Physics with a Thermal Camera for $964 to Kevin Camp. This grant will provide a way of observing physics phenomena that were previously impossible to see via a thermal camera. And two more. The next one out of the high school is the AAPI Year of the Snake for $600 to Miss Lynn. This grant will provide educational and cultural appreciation for all grade levels in order to celebrate and educate attendees about the rich cultural heritage of Asian American and Pacific Island countries. Through a variety of engaging hands-on activities, participants will be able to gain a deeper understanding of these diverse cultures. And our last one out of the high school is the Robotics Club for $1,385 to Shiloh Vetter and DeWitt Tessima. I know Shiloh is here. Oh, and, all right. This is another one that was mostly student-led. This grant will provide the newly established robotics club at the high school with supplies like motors, metal beams, wheels, and more so that they can create engaging and educational projects. These projects will allow the students to learn engineering and programming skills that will help them figure out their interests and undoubtedly prove useful in many of their future careers. Sorry. So that is all the grants. Those were 22. It was a good cycle. We had a lot of requests, and we're very happy and honored to be able to fund these. The LTF is only able to do all that we do through generous donations of corporate sponsors and individual donors. We have a couple of events throughout the year. Our next event is Lawrence Has Talent. It's coming up on April 4th. Tickets are going fast, so get your tickets. And can we do a picture?
Yeah, so if I can have the award recipients and your checks down in the well down here with the board, we'll take a picture.
Great.
Yeah.
They were cold in the back, so. Buddy, oh, sorry. Thank you, everybody, and Bonnie.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Job well done. Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to adopt the executive session and regular session minutes from the February 12th, 2025 meeting?
So moved. Second.
With a motion and a second, Tom?
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Pasculi?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Ms. Van Hise?
Abstain?
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Reports to the board, the superintendent's report.
Okay, first I want to thank Ms. Giglio and the LTEF for their continued support of our students, teachers, and the entire district. We always benefit from our teachers' innovative and forward-thinking ideas, and dreams really are made a reality here in Lawrence Township with the generous donation and grant awards this evening, so thank you. Happy Youth Art Month. Thank you to all of our art teachers for providing this beautiful artwork and behind you on display. We have artwork representing all 7 schools here tonight, so take a minute to pass through. It's pretty exciting. And I do want to thank, he's not here any longer, but Mr. Kilgore and his 5th and 6th grade flute players and the 8th grade musicians on the clarinet, flute, and piano. I think the board always appreciates a little touch every evening that we meet. We like to see the students and the arts grow here in our district. So before we go any further tonight, I really want to thank the voters of the Lawrence Township community for approving the LTPS referendum last Tuesday, March 11th. Because of your support, we can move forward with our vision for the future of a district of excellence. The projects under the referendum will benefit our students, our schools, and our entire community. Your voices, your votes, and your belief in all of us made this possible. I want to thank you for standing alongside us, for believing in our students, for helping to shape the future of Lawrence Township Public Schools for many, many years to come. I know we have a lot to get through tonight, so without further ado, Mr. Eldridge and I will join together at the podium to deliver the draft budget presentation to the Board of Ed. All right, so good evening. This is your 25-26 draft budget presentation. Special thanks to Mr. Eldridge for doing the figures you'll see later on in the slideshow. So I just want to remind the public and the board that we do have the strategic plan goals that are going to be extended out one more year before we engage in a full strategic plan process with the public. Those aspirations really involved thematic goals that involve wellness, student achievement, and equity, diversity, and inclusion. The superintendent goals, I haven't developed next year's goals. I'll do a full review of the board goals during our summer retreat, and then another messaging to the public, of course, during a September board meeting. But I just want the public to understand that this is going to be multi-year goals for the district. Preschool expansion is very near and dear to the board's heart. We're working really hard, reaching at 50% capacity for the preschool expansion, going into next school year, which is no small feat. It's really taking a lot of bandwidth and effort from the early childhood team. So I really need to give them a shout out. You'll see an extension of this goal and a hybrid of us bringing in some community members to really form an early childhood advisory council so that as we expand and meet our full universe of 500 projected students, we'll continue to expand this goal and the metrics that go along with. The second really is career and college readiness, and that's really about enhancing student belonging, making sure that the messaging out there to the public is you are career ready, whether that looks like a pathway to a training program, a vocational experience, college readiness. We want all of our students to feel like their strengths are valued and honored here in this district, and we will certainly capture all opportunities and experiences for them to continue to expand that. The last one we've been working, for the last 18 months on truly is the community engagement. So while that's centered around, the referendum and really educating the community, our next goal will probably be central to informing the public on our continued plans around the reconfiguration. So just a quick overview of what you'll see, Mr. Aldridge and I are of the belief you really put your money where your mouth is. We've got a lot of initiatives, and sometimes we really have to sit together as a team and work with our administrative team to really parse out, where is it that we're going? What's our vision for the district? I mentioned preschool expansion, so that will remain a central sort of, community. The community site that we're opening is really going to be important next year because that allows us to open more classrooms for kids. The next thing you'll see is career and technical education opportunities for students. We're really proud we've put virtual reality into the hands of kids at Lawrence Elementary School, at Lawrence Intermediate School. Really the idea is to promote college and/or career readiness, just any pathway to really ignite the excitement around future learning. How do we develop pathways at the high school if we don't understand the kids coming up so that we can receive them to adjust curriculum and to adjust our electives? And that really ties into the third bullet point, which is the public service community. Our students are eager for community service. They're eager to learn more about what do public service EMTs and nursing and police and first responders. And, the academy is quite vast, but this idea was really born from our students. And that's what's really important about this administrative team and this budget is we're going to continue to adjust to the needs of the growing population that we're serving here in Lawrence. Next, you'll see the deployment of district level and building level data teams that we're going to kind of hone in on. There's going to be, firmed up data protocols that'll feed up to a district level team. So the building teams will feed to the district teams, really just solidifying, sort of that data-driven decision making and ensuring that the Office of Instruction really has a long-range plan that matches alongside the data. So as we're making adjustments, that the teachers are prepared for any pivots or changes that we need to make in the curriculum to ensure that our student growth is on target. Maintaining police presence, I always like to assure the community that there is a portion of our budget that is dedicated to our Class 3 officers and our SRO at the high school. It's important to us to have security and operations running very smoothly, and I know that that's an important topic for our community. And then, of course, engaging families. We do plan on continuing our community conversations. We will always adjust the topics to the needs and the requests of our community. You can expect more surveys next year so that we can make sure that we're on the mark for addressing concerns and issues that come up from our constituents. And that's really about building bridges. We've done some really cool things this year. We adopted talking points. That goes home in families' home language. It's so great to get a text message in your home language. We're continuing to just expand the bandwidth and the opportunity for our families to engage back with us. So that has been highly successful. It's something that has been rolled out. We're in the second year, and we're always looking for ways to reach our families, whether it's hybrid, virtual, and in-person sessions, really just trying to think of ways to get families in the very busy life to join us and have conversations with us at the table. And really, revising programs, positions, and instructional practices. If there's a position that needs to be created, to support teachers better, we're always at the table having discussions, working with the board, making sure that we have the bandwidth to support our educators in the classroom and making sure that they have the resources that they need. And then finally, there'll be no shortage of communications. As we passed the referendum last Tuesday, I mentioned, we'll be building out some phasing, working on project design. As we, sort of formulate how the project timeline will go, we will be giving some clear messaging out to the public. So you can await all those fun things. All right, I'm on a roll. Economic influences. So, it's always important to remind the public that there are constraints when you're building a budget. I proudly am announcing tonight we're asking for the board's approval on 2 collective bargaining units successfully ratified in February. So that means the board has in front of them 2 contracts. We successfully negotiated the Lawrence Township Education Association contract for the next 3 years, and we have a smaller unit that encompasses our board office members and some of our technology members. So we will be asking for the board's approval on that this evening. We feel very proud that we have contracts in place before the start of July 1. So that was a wonderful process, and I know Mr. Fry's in the audience and Mr. Eldridge is standing next to me. It is a collective effort when you're going through negotiations, so I want to thank you for your support. Benefits and insurance costs, there's always inflation, utilization, of course, pension costs, there's inflation associated. I don't need to remind everyone that gas prices are up. Just imagine now repairs and gas prices for our buses and the contracts that go out. Sometimes, families think it's easy to reroute a student, but in this district, we have about 11 school buses. And we actually have to sort of contract out for the remaining of the routes here. So sometimes it's Rick Bus picking up students, sometimes it's a Lawrence Township employee. So, you know, our bandwidth is sort of this hybrid model. We're not a district that has a full fleet of buses. We don't have a bus yard. Our bus yard is right in front of the high school out here, and that encompasses 11 vehicles. Why I say that is sometimes, you know, when you have to go out to bid, you know, we're at the mercy of how the bids come in, how we award the contracts. That's just an important consideration as prices increase for us to consider when we're building the budget. And then finally, tuition. We have some students out of district. Tuition continues to go up. Any contracted service, whether it's a nursing care, some sort of outside provider that we need to bring in for their expertise, those prices continue to increase. And we have a 2% cap. So the prices are exceeding the 2% cap. So that's always a tricky scenario. And then I'll bring up Mr. Eldridge to go through the overview.
So what we've done is we've reduced the budget in terms of its appropriations. And of course, appropriations are just our spending plan. It's what we anticipate spending during the year. And I'll remind the board that we're doing the spending plan now, but that's a spending plan that will carry us through, not the end of this summer, but the following summer. So things change, but this is where we are today. This is a general overview from probably about a 10,000 feet view, and we've got detailed data for you as well. But what you can see here in broad strokes is our entire budget reduced to what you see at the top. The table at the top shows you the programs that we fund. And if you want to think about programs, you can think of them to be analogous to products. And so where we see the increases happening, we see, for example, regular education increasing by $600,000 and special ed by $712,000 and so on as you go down from health and media straight on down to administration, which includes technology, legal services, through our utilities, the benefits that Dr. Klim spoke of, transportation, and then we don't have any increase in the capital area at this point in time. Below that, for you to look at it at a different time, you'll see that, and I'll see if these laser pointers work. They do. Excellent. So what you have is an $88 million, almost $89 million appropriation overall for our budget. But below what we show you is outside of what these are, our programs, this is another way of presenting the budget. It says what we buy within each program. So here the bottom line is also $88 million. Of course, it would be ties out. But this is broken up to show you that the vast majority of our budget is made up of salaries and benefits, as you see here. We'll talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. Up top, just a pie chart for you if you like your USA Today graphics here to show you where we are in terms of these things, but visually for you. So special education here, gen ed here, and employee benefits actually is outside. So you would think that those are spread across these cost centers, and you would be right. You could put them in there in proportion. This is what we call our advertised budget. This is similar to what you're going to see in our user-friendly budget that we'll post, that the department requires us to post online. I think ours is a little bit more easy to understand. And what we've done here is I've taken that same reduction that you saw on the previous slide, totaling this amount, and I've given you the categories within so that you can see what's happening. So when we do say regular programs are going up, we mean, okay, this is grades kindergarten through 12 in typical classroom teachers, but we can swing into here to basic skills right here. That's also part of gen ed and bilingual. So we break them up into subcategories to give you a better flavor if you wanted to know exactly where things are changing up and down in all of the appropriations. The board and the public online on our main website, you'll find a link to the budget. Behind this table, there are another 10 pages that make up probably upwards of about 300 different lines, for example, that give you the micro level detail of all of these. On the previous screen, I showed you the programs and then translated over here to what we call the objects, what it is we buy. Both, of course, total out the same, and here's your salaries and benefits. But this year, I thought it was interesting to give this to you and show you that 90% or 92% of our budget is made up of salaries, benefits, tuition, and of course, tuition is direct service as well to our students, transportation, and energy alone. And I thought that was a unique number right there, only because it was so high. And that tells us something. What it tells us is any changes in our budget of a material nature have to come through program. That's the interpretation of that, because some of these things are set and are the cost of doing business. Transportation, for example, and energy is just keeping the lights on and keeping the buildings warm for the most part. Except for today, it's a little chilly in here now. So moving over to the next slide, just to give you a picture of where we are with revenue. This is, again, a reduction, a 10,000-foot view. We see our appropriations are going up by this amount, and here's the corresponding revenue changes. So we have an increase in state aid, a slight decrease in some federal funding for the general fund, and then an increase in tax levy. And what it translates to is the tax calculations that I provide. I try to do this every year if you're interested. We show it on a school year basis here, but of course taxes are calculated on a calendar year, and so we calculate those out for you as well. Overall, to the average home, it's about $140. And all of this is online, and then more detail. The link is on the main website. And and you can find it right here at www.ltps.org, where you'll see all of our budget years, budget information. You'll find all of our audits here. And by the way, just to tie it back into what you vote on every board meeting, when you vote on the board secretary's report, that's not a report from me in a qualitative sense. It's actually a financial document. And so you see the balance sheet there, and you'll see the budget as it's been expended to date. And every month when you get that report, that's what that is. That is also online. So should anyone ever ask about our finances, they're online right to the interim basis on a monthly basis. And if there are any questions, next steps we submit to the Mercer County Department of Education and our official budget hearing. This is not what this is just our preliminary. Our official is May 7th. I don't expect that there'll be anything in the way of material changes between now and then. Hi.
Hi, Mr. Allen.
Hello.
I have a question.
Yes.
And this is something that you've done a great job answering for me in the past, so I think this is just another version of that. But if you go back to the slide that was showing the breakdown, and I just
This one?
think, yes.
Okay.
And you've just been really helpful, and I wonder if we could go through this for our purposes tonight, is thinking about, like when you said the programmatic decisions are driving the budget, which is great
Yes.
for us because it's very focused on our
course.
students. And then thinking about, but it also means, for instance, and just correct me if I'm messing something up, but I think you're explaining the co-curricular and athletics costs have gone up, but that's not necessarily because we, as a board, have added anything. It's because the cost of what we've already agreed to has gone up.
That's primary. That's true.
Yeah, and
So we're not expanding. These are just ongoing costs move forward 1 year, inflated to reflect the given economy.
that's really helpful. So if we were ever needing to cut things, it's not like we're just making arbitrary decisions and getting bigger in a year where costs are going up. It's just the nature of what's going on.
You said it better than I did. That
Got
is
it.
true.
Well, you taught me. Okay.
So, okay. But one thing I did miss, and this came up so much prior to the referendum, and I really am negligent for not mentioning this, is the question of where's PEA in this? So interestingly enough, our local contribution to PEA is about the same, even though the program is expanded by multifold. And it's here. But guess where else it is? It is also right here. And that's a negative number. That's negative 53,801. The reason it's negative is because this is our general fund that we present here on an annual basis. PEA is what we call a special revenue fund. It's outside of this budget for the most part. The reason this is going down is because PEA is now paying some of these costs. So this decrease in school administration is because PEA is picking up those costs. If PEA didn't pick up those costs, our tax levy would be greater. And so we had talked about this any number of times during the referendum, and the referendum not being about preschool, but it just kept coming up. And we would say repeatedly that the PEA, the preschool expansion, was a benefit to the district, not just because of how it helped our students, but financially. This is absolutely proof positive of that assistance right here.
And it's creating greater efficiencies.
It's certainly creating greater efficiencies. As we have here, even though our administrators are still here, they are not being fully charged to our general fund and to the tax levy of Lawrence Township. And this is what we were trying to say. It just so happens to be that elegantly 1 week later, we're here. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much,
All right.
Tom.
There's Joe.
That was great. Board Secretary report, anything you want to add?
So tomorrow, we have our kickoff meeting with the architect. It's exciting. So we will meet, and Robin will be there, and I'm sure Mindy will be there, and our architects will be there, George Duthie and Steve Schreier. We will have Herb Seberg. He will be there. He's also a Lawrence resident, but he owns the site engineering company. And we will begin to talk about how we're going to proceed and what the steps are going to be in big strokes. And then the following week, we meet with our bonding attorneys and our financial advisors and talk about selling bonds. And so this is exciting. And we'll be bringing you, I'll need some help from any board members that want to volunteer, because we'll be contracting for a construction management firm, and I need at least one board member to be on the evaluation team. And so Ms. Santos had expressed interest. I don't know if she's still interested, but that would be fantastic to help
Great.
us review that specification before it goes out. We're all reviewing it now. So we're moving the ball rapidly down the field at this point. And I believe that what you'll have is you'll have regular reports from us. Eventually, there'll be pictures in the reports that you get from us as we break ground. And undoubtedly, if it ever rains again, you'll have muddy pictures as we try to pour footings, because that's what construction is like, and it'll be a bunch of fun. Also on the agenda tonight, we did not forget about any other schools. So as promised, you will see on the agenda tonight the award of the modular building roof for Eldridge Park. That's a metal roof. It's a handsome roof. It'll look similar to what we have at Slackwood School and the metal roof on Lawrence Elementary School. You'll see, I believe, $80,000, $85,000 contract for painting, plaster repair at Eldridge Park. That'll coincide as we replace all the classroom ceilings on the 3rd floor as well. You've already approved the floor replacement at Slackwood Elementary School, which I believe was also upwards of $80,000. So we will be moving forward with major and minor revisions. You'll see those revisions first before referendum, but we'll certainly break ground on those things, so to speak, right through the summer. There are many more things that we could talk about, but the board should know that all the things that people brought before you in terms of when they said, what about us, we remembered them. Typically, we don't talk about these things, we just do them. But I do want to remind, and I will send an email out to Eldridge Park staff tomorrow that says that you awarded these things last night, to remind them that you did not forget about them, you had never forgotten about them. These things take 90 days to plan, so when people were concerned about that, we were already well underway planning by that time. So on the agenda this evening, you will see a recommendation to you by way of the superintendent that I put before her, to hire Freytag, Weiss, Hopkins, and Duthie as our architect. The process we used for this was to go out, and I sent out a request for assistance to my counterparts across the state, north, south, central, to provide me with data regarding the costs for their architects, and compared them to both what we call the hard costs, the brick and mortar, for construction, and what their cost of their architect was overall in proportion to their contract. I chose to do this for this reason. And again, I asked the Finance Committee about this, and I expressed to them why I chose this methodology. And first, let me say that these architectural services are professional services. They are exempt from bidding because you wouldn't want to award a low bid to somebody. You want the qualified person, or the most qualified person, to design this for our structures that are going to last 100+ years. So what we wanted to do was make sure that what we were negotiating with our contract was in line with what's happening in the market. Had I gone out for an RFP, the problem I found with that was many times we only get one RFP, a single RFP, or maybe two. Now what we have is a wide sampling across the state. What we brought before you today is consistent with somewhere around the 6%, 6.5% of hard costs, which is significantly lower than we've paid in the past for other projects. It's right in the middle of where we are, and it's my belief that we're bringing to you the best professionals that are available to us. They've served you well in all of the pre-referendum work, and they have been there for us at every step of the way. And furthermore, they're actually also assisting us with solutions to previous projects. And they were doing that long before we committed to a referendum. And so that talked to not only their efficacy, but their character as well, that they were going to stand by Lawrence. And when we brought them back in, long before the referendum, I got a call from the principal architect, and he said to me, "I can't believe that we're back. I'm so happy to be in Lawrence Township." And so it shows up in his numbers. It shows up in his service. It's there for you, and I'd love to answer questions. This is a large contract. Are we okay? All right, so
Good
this
for me.
contract is being reviewed by our attorney. We will also submit it to the Office of the State Comptroller, their review of us due to the size of the contract. So this is not just something that happens in my office. It's happening through legal counsel. It's also, again, going to go to the Office of the State Comptroller due to its size, and they will review the entire process once more. And so tonight, however, it's on the agenda for your consideration.
Thank you so much, Tom. And thank you for the budget presentation. It was really good. I love having a little walkthrough of it so that everybody in the public can know how you're thinking and how the budget aligns with our goals as a district. The board president's report. I just really wanted to take a moment to sincerely thank all the Lawrence residents who took the time to show up and vote in support of our referendum on March 11th. Your participation is a testament to the dedication and the care you have for the future of our community and our schools. The success would not have been possible without the hard work and commitment of many individuals. Dr. Klim, our entire central office staff, the administration, so many teachers, leaders, and many community members have worked tirelessly over the past year and a half, to ensure the successful passing of this referendum. Their collective efforts have laid out the foundation for what we're about to accomplish together. As we move forward, the next focus will be on the implementation of the plan. I want to assure the community that we will keep you posted every step of the way. Transparency and communication are key, and we as a board are committed to keeping you informed of our progress. I'm so proud of the work that has been done so far, but we know this is just the beginning. There is so much more to do, and I'm confident that together we will build a brighter future for our schools, for our students, and for the community. This referendum is a critical step towards improving achievement for all of our students, from our youngest learners in pre-K to all of our graduating seniors. Thank you once again for your support and trust. Let's move forward with excitement and optimism for the future of our district. Thank you to everyone on this board as well. We worked so hard over the past year and a half, and it was a great honor to serve with you, and I am so incredibly happy over the outcome for our students and our staff. So, thank you. And then we have our liaison reports. We have our student board member, Edison.
Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. Over the past month, fundraising efforts have continued to support Project Graduation, with several successful initiatives contributing to our progress. Casino Night raised over $4,300, exceeding previous year's results despite having fewer attendees. Thanks to our generous sponsors, Project Graduation was able to reduce costs for food and the venue, maximizing the funds raised. Additionally, the lawn signs fundraiser is underway. An initial batch of signs with blank year spaces will be printed, with available vinyl date stickers to avoid waste year over year. We anticipate selling the signs for $25 each, though they will be on sale for $20 each if purchased before April 30th. And we are actively promoting them to senior families to help meet our fundraising goals. Despite these successes, there's still work to be done. Project Graduation has currently raised about $8,500, but still needs an additional $9,000 to $11,000 to fully fund Project Graduation. To help close this gap, we're encouraging families to consider making donations, including in kind, and we're actively exploring new fundraising ideas. Communication is also our key focus moving forward. Project Graduation has identified a need for better promotion on the school's Instagram page, and steps are being taken to connect with the student responsible for managing that account. Lastly, the Project Graduation event is scheduled for June 24th, with approximately 200 to 250 seniors expected to attend. Ensuring this event is both safe and successful requires the support of parent volunteers, and we need to increase parent volunteer engagement in the weeks ahead. In the meantime, efforts are also underway to plan Class Royale, which was previously mentioned by the other student representatives, a match of the Powder Puff game that will now involve students from all grades. This event, scheduled for April 25th, aims to match or exceed the $3,000 raised by last year's Powder Puff fundraiser. In short, while meaningful progress has been made in fundraising, everyone involved in Project Graduation encourages community support to donate and volunteer now to ensure Project Graduation is a memorable and safe celebration for the class of 2025. Thank you. This concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Edison. Lawrence Township Education Foundation, we had our grant cycle tonight, so we have nothing else to add. New Jersey School Board Association, Joanna's not here. I don't know if anybody has anything that they would like to share. Okay. Student Services.
Student Services meeting was held on March 11th. In attendance was Vanessa Bakarsiak and myself, Arndell Clark. Items to highlight, the NJGPA testing. That took place from March 10th to the 13th. Those tests are fulfilling the state requirement for school graduation. So that was a busy week, and I'm sure everyone is glad that that week is done. The Transition Fair. The Transition Fair took place on March 1st in collaboration with Caregivers of New Jersey. The fair was a success with 33 vendors registered to attend and approximately 30 families attending. Many of the families that attended were of Lawrence, so thank you to all those whom attended. Various vendors such as DVRs, DDD, Game U, Arc of Mercer, various financial planning programs, respite support, music and gaming programs, dentists, NJ Tip, which is travel independence, to name a few of those vendors that were there. Based on the feedback, we're looking forward to continued growth in future events of that. This month is Developmental Disability Awareness Month. Through the new Internal Community Board Committee mentioned last month's activities that are being planned. In previous years, promoted items included fundraising activities within building connecting our students with developmental disabilities with their same-aged peers, classroom door displays to educate students about various disabilities. Related services providers and teachers have also provided informational resources to staff and students. We look forward to see what will be available for this month. Thrive. Thrive continues their 8th year with 3 counselors in the district covering LIS, LMS, and LHS, serving 52 students. 17 of those students have been newly referred to Thrive this year. Thrive provides therapeutic counseling and consultation to students, families, and staff. Primarily reasons for referrals are depression, anxiety, school avoidance or refusal, emotional dysregulation, and conduct issues. ESY and Connect. Planning and preparation for ESY and Connect for the 2025 summer session continues. Communicating with parents and putting together staff to help determine the number of classes that are needed this year is the current step. The Special Education Parents Advisory Group, CPAG. Planning for the upcoming presentations through DDD or Children's Collaborative is taking place to discuss services and support for families.
This ends my report.
Great, thank you so much, Arundel. Reconfiguration ad hoc. Diana.
Thank you. A lot's been said, but I do just want to give kudos particularly to leadership and a lot of reflection of this process. I think it's really been extraordinary, and just to hear from folks around the state in the last week to really put in perspective what our community achieved, which is to vote for improvements that were frankly voluntary, that were improving our students' experience. They weren't have-to-haves, they weren't bare bones, and that's because of the amazing work of our leadership and efficacy in past years. So just from my perspective as a liaison, every single day that I watched our president, our superintendent, our BA, our communication director deal with the daily responsibilities of running districts while also engaging every day on this matter. It was really impressive. And frankly, the next steps, which I think it's a little tiring to think that more work and more difficult work is ahead, and that will be the focus, I think, of us as liaisons and making sure that the community is aware and the community gives input. So the other thing we've been really reflecting on is just the leadership of all our school leaders, particularly Dr. Fisher and Dr. Malowski. I think that it's pretty extraordinary that these leaders didn't just, put up with change. They championed it, and I thought we saw that a lot of the changes were driven by our educators and by all of you. So I think that's pretty impressive, and that'll be the hard work, is figuring out what this is going to look like.
Thank you so much, Diana. Review of communications. None. It's our first opportunity for public input. Okay. Just please state your name. You can write your address down and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Elliott. I'd rather just say it, but I'll write it down, all this stuff. I'll get in a little bit. I just want to say thank you. You guys did a great job on bringing forward all the information on this referendum. Superintendent Clem, Mr. Eldridge, the rest of the board, you guys were really, as a community member, forget about me, being interested in what's going on with our board here. I mean, just as somebody from the outside, the way you guys were communicating, whether it's a virtual meeting or it's a meeting in the auditorium in the middle school, all the brochures, the things, I mean, it really helped people get information properly. So that took a lot of work. It was quite obvious how much work you guys put into this whole thing. And, I just appreciate that. And I just like the way, not all districts would do that. So thank you for the hard work and the informing of the public. That's pretty much it. So thanks.
And Mark, I want to say thank you to you for your support, which included many discussions online with people who did not have the facts, and you had the facts at your fingertips and set the record straight. So we all appreciate that.
Well, if I may reply to that, there was just so much misinformation and lies, I would say. And so it's disturbing to me as a community member and somebody who's invested in this school district. Some people may not be invested in the school district, some, for whatever reasons. And I think that's a big mistake in ways that they may not see, apparently see, but they may have some other agenda, I don't know.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
I just want to say one thing in response to, social media, and this is just a general comment I'm putting out to the public. Social media is not necessarily a place to go to find information about our schools. I encourage people in the community to look at our website, contact Dr. Klim, contact myself. Don't put a question on Facebook and always expect to get an accurate answer. I think we've culturally come to a point where, social media has become a dialogue, but there is a lot of misinformation that is shared on that. And I really want to encourage people in the public to come to the source. We really want to make sure our community understands what's going on here. Even if someone does not have a student in the school, we will be more than happy to share information. taxpayer dollars run our schools, so we are beholden to our community. So thank you for what you've done, and I just put it out to the community to really come to us. Do not post stuff on social media to get information.
And I would like to add to that, show up at the board meetings. If you really want to know stuff and you don't want to post, misinformation just because you just didn't attend, go to the board meetings, go to any kind of referendum meeting, and do your reading, do your studying, do your homework. I mean, a lot of the stuff was that, I'd ask somebody, hey, did you go to the meeting? Did you hear? Usually not.
Yes.
So either way. And worst case scenario, just, bother that guy over there, Mr. Eldridge. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? No. Okay. No board discussion and work session items this evening. So we'll go to board action items. And our first is Personnel Committee report and action items, which is I'm doing for Joanne, who is out today. And I forgot to pull it up while I was sitting here. I apologize. All right. Forgot I was presenting personnel, so.
Did you happen to notice that all the kids in the high school reported from their phone too? Save,
Sorry.
Mr. Ryan. You were traditional, but so you were in good company. Everybody had their phone out.
I know, I'm not good with the phone in that way. Personnel met on 3/12. In attendance was Dr. Klim, Sean Fry, Olga Martinez, Diana Pasculi, Arundel Clark, and myself. We discussed current special ed assistant vacancies and upcoming leaves. Next year, we're projecting vacancies for science, some specialists, ESL, and special ed. We reviewed negotiation items and discussed staffing needs for 25-26 school year. I also want to just mention again the successful contract negotiations with LTEA and LAPTA. Dr. Klim and Sean did an outstanding job, and I'm extremely proud and excited, and we'll see that on our next agenda. And with that, I'd like to move P1 through P. 35.
Second?
Got it?
Motion and a second?
Yep. Ready?
Yes, ready.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Pasculi?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise?
Yes.
Ms. Bose?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. CIAPD and student service action items?
CIAPD met on March 13th at 8 a.m. in the board office. In attendance were Mr. Neil Desai, our new Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, who on his second day on the job passed a $94 million referendum, so that's impressive.
O'Neill?
Dr. Klim, Ms. Musi, Dr. Michelle King, Michelle Bose, Diana Pasculi, and myself. We officially welcomed Mr. Desai to the team. Ms. Musi provided updates on the transition of instructional support through the equity coaches and the progress of the comprehensive equity plan. Dr. Klim shared an update on the AI grant and the linkage from Dr. King for ongoing consultation with TCNJ. The committee also discussed expanding life skills programming with input from the Student Services and Mayor's Community Center Task Force, as well as partnerships with Rider University. The committee reviewed 2 policies for a first reading, and progress updates included successful ordering of virtual reality glasses through LTEF for career pathways, a doubling of VOTEC applications, and a successful AmeriCIC preschool presentation with 130 parents in attendance. Mr. Desai's transition priorities were also noted. No items were referred from other committees. CIAPD will continue to monitor progress toward district goals related to equity, wellness, and student achievement, with updates shared publicly at the board meeting. With that, I would like to go to the agenda where you see OIS for travel log, professional development and field trips, and OSS is non-public and out of district. So I would like to move OIS 1 through 7 and OSS 1 through 3.
Could we pull OIS 7 out? I need to recuse on that one, so.
Sure, what Kevin said. Okay.
Understood?
Okay.
So the
And I'll
motion was,
second the motion.
Okay, with a motion and a second, Tom?
you're complicating that one
All
now.
right. Okay.
So, okay, here we are. Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Pasculi,
Yes.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise.
Yes.
Ms. Bose.
Yes.
Motion carried.
May I have a motion to move OIS 7?
OIS 7. Second. So moved.
Who was the second? Ms. Santos?
Me.
Okay. All right. Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Pasculi,
Yes.
Ms. Santos,
Yes.
Ms. Van Hise,
Abstain.
Ms. Bose.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Finance Committee report and school business management action items.
Okay. Kevin was absent, so I'll give the report. Finance met on March 14th from 8 to 9:30 a.m. As if talking about the budget wasn't fun enough, we celebrated Tom Eldridge's birthday. And any meeting that includes cake is fine by me. So Tom, Jill Pazluzny joined us, Dr. Robin Clem, Amanda Santos, Diana Pasculi, and myself. I was filling in for Kevin. Tom shared the proposed 25-26 budget, highlighting preliminary numbers in different formats to make it accessible for all. I won't go over that line by line again. We were looking at the architect's contract for the middle school expansion, and Tom was able to negotiate and lock in a 5.3% of the total cost or 6.7% hard cost. So if you're going to haggle, bring Tom with you. Construction manager contracts are not professional services and don't require bidding and will be determined by a point system so that we acquire the best hires and not the cheapest. Get it all, Tom?
That's it. It was through 16.
That's it?
1 through 16.
1 through 6.
Yes.
So, yeah, we have, and I'm happy to make the motion for SBM 1 through 16, which includes transportation payments, routine budget transfers, financial reports, fire drills, grant submissions, several contracts that Tom alluded to earlier, lease with the YMCA for next year, and most importantly, the budget approval, which will enable Tom to submit this to the county superintendent, and we'll be back for our hearing on May 7th. So with that, I'll move SBM 1 through 16, and my thanks to Pepper.
Second.
Tom with a motion and a second?
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Pasculi,
Yes.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise.
Yes.
Ms. Bose.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Here's our next opportunity for public input. Good evening. Just please state your name, your address. You can write it down and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Jim Cleek, 7 East Dara Lane. Get that in. But I just, a couple comments and questions. Reference to the referendum, I was sorry to see there wasn't a greater turnout percentage, and I was surprised to see that there was that much opposition, to tell you the truth. And to my dismay, some people I know who have buckets of money told me how much my taxes were going to go up and all if I voted for it, and it's just that kind of thing always discourages me, because even though I only have one grandchild left in the system, and she's graduating this year, I still feel like when my kids and grandchildren were in school, other people whose kids were already out of school or who didn't have any kids helped pay for mine. And if you're not, if you're comfortable enough to do it, it should be our turn now. But this is a question that I'm pretty sure I know the answer to, but I know that the mailings and all had to be expensive, and the work went into that. And I think my understanding was that was the Education Association, am I right? Because of course people want to think it was the district or the teachers union or something. And the last thing, since I'm running out of time here, is Tom, when you referred to, I think you used initials or something, was that the preschool aid that helped, you were saying helped make it the referendum, so it was better than it would have been otherwise in terms of keeping it, not having a, helping the cost of the referendum?
Not for the referendum, but offset the administrative costs that were in the budget. So
Right.
Two different things. But yes, it was the PEA.
Question, how much confidence do we have that that's going to be a continuing
Answer that.
thing?
Do you want me to answer that?
I'm just curious. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I mean,
So two things. I just want to say, we did engage NJEA, which has been a huge support to us, the Office of Government Affairs. And they did all of our publications outside of the brochure that was made, in our office by Ms. Baldessari, our communications manager. All the mailings that went home were because we have a relationship with the NJEA, and we engaged them very early on in the process. So I like to kind of correct things.
Yeah, I wasn't,
So thank you.
I know that. I mean, I was pretty sure I knew that, and I wasn't being critical. I was trying to clarify it for
I think it's
anybody
important to
who didn't know
clarify.
it. And I was referring to page 25 or something. Here it is, where it had the pieces of the budget, because nobody from the audience, or at least not me, can ever see those budgets, and that's why you need the website in the end when they're on there. But I was curious about. I'm talking about the $3,673 that's a grant from preschool aid. That's state, I'm assuming, and and I just wondered how, because that's another thing you hear, and I wonder if myself, when people, new governors come and and so on, how much confidence there is that we're going to be continued.
Ms. Bose gave me the permission. Mr. Cleek, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, but forgive me, I have to wait for the board chair to, and so she's indicated that I can respond. I have no concern, I have no more concern that PEA aid will diminish than I do for categorical transportation aid or security aid or special education aid or debt service aid. I am not concerned with PEA being targeted amongst all the other things that people are looking at. So the state, when it balances its budget, looks at a great number of things, and it's not just our aid. I know that oftentimes people would like us to, they'll spotlight one thing in particular. And our indications, whether it was from our county office or through different governing agencies, all indicate that the support from the Department of Education, specifically the governor rather, is that this is an initiative that the governor wants to see moving forward. And we want to see it too. I think it's plain what the benefits are, but we have no reason to believe that that one particular type of aid will be targeted.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm running out of time. I do have a vested interest, I have to admit, since both my daughters work in the district.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cleek. Any other public input, comment? Okay,
Michelle, could I add something to that?
sure.
People who think it doesn't matter once your kids are out of school. You know, I took a little trip to the emergency room over the weekend. My EMT was a Lawrence grad. My nurse at the hospital was a Lawrence grad. And the doctor in the emergency room has a kindergartner at Ben Franklin. So it extends far beyond just having kids in school.
Yes, it's our community. I mean, I really feel like one of the things that people take for granted is how big our reach is, how our students go out and do so much in this town and in the state and beyond. So I, like you, meet and interact with kids all the time who are now adults who tell me they were in our school system. So thank you for sharing that, Pepper.
And next time it could be Ryan.
That's right.
It might be Ryan.
Mr. Ryan, rather.
I'd put my life in his hands.
Yeah, of course, of course. Edison's our guy.
Thank you. New business. Pepper, do you want to do?
New business has personnel and substitutes, and I would like to pass new business 1 through 11.
Second?
Tom, with a motion and a second.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Pasculi?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise?
Yes.
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Now, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a wonderful night.